Damage control.
We're back. Ultimate Combat Training Center, Damage Control. Here with Mike Stidham. We just learned a great wrestling move, and there seems to be a lot of wrestling influence at this gym. Is that because you guys are working with a wrestling program, or where does that come from?
We're all a bunch of mat rats. We all started out as wrestlers for the most part, and so our fight game has a lot of wrestling incorporated into it.
So it's the background here, and then you guys also work with some of the local wrestling clubs and schools, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Mike, I'm wondering, do you have any other wrestling moves that you think work well in the MMA situation?
I really do, and it's very basic stuff, but it's really amazing to me how many high-level fighters don't use basic stuff. And the first thing is, I always preach, it's not really what you do, it's where you do and when you do it. If you're in the middle of a ring and you're trying to take somebody down, it's kind of nonsensical. You just put yourself in a position where I'm going to shoot underneath the guy who has probably halfway decent takedown defense, and I'm going to burn up a lot of energy. So I typically have my guys take their shots near the edge of the cage, or where we can use the cage to our advantage. But the other thing is, rather than shooting up underneath somebody, which I'm a lazy guy, so I always look for the easiest way to do things. Rather than shooting up underneath somebody, I always practice or preach that we are going to just do a little pickpocket. We're going to snatch things. So if we were fighting, I would change my level, and I would take this single leg and just snatch it up. And depending on what you do to oppose that is going to dictate what I do next. So once I snatch this thing here, and it's really important that I keep it up in here tight, because if it's extended, you're in control. If it's up in here tight, I'm in control. So if you were to leave your leg right in there between my legs, I would just clamp down on it and drop. Okay? If he were to bring his leg, kick it out to the side here, I would step through and trip. Obviously look for passing guard. And if he were to bring it this way, bring it up in the front here, just like this, I would bring it down in a circular fashion. But the whole concept is I control the leg. Once I snatch it, it's mine, and then I'm going to keep me moving because he's on one foot. As long as I keep him moving, it's hard for him to mount an offense, and then once he decides to settle in somewhere, I'm going to react accordingly. That's it.
Now, Mike, is there one of those places that's best for me to put my leg once you have it?
What you want to be concentrating on is pushing on the head and creating that space. You see how I talked about this being in tight? You want to create space here so you can try to defend. It doesn't really matter where your foot goes.
All right, Mike, I have a couple quick questions on that single leg. Now, first of all, when you first grabbed my leg, it just put me right on the ground because you snatched it up so fast. Is there a special way you get into that? I mean, is it really that easy to just rip a guy off his feet like that? Or?
It really is. And what I want to do, and again, I spoke a moment ago about when I do it and where I do it, I want to get you moving around. And once I see you step on a foot, it becomes very easy for me just to snatch it out. But I will kind of point out a couple of nuances of it. When I snatch the leg, this hand goes up and this hand goes down. And I'm going to clap just like this in a gable grip and suck it up in tight. And if I do it in the right spot here, you kind of feel how I can kind of take you where I want to go. And the reason I grab this way is if you go to pull up on my hands, you're basically pulling your leg up higher. If I go this way, you go to pull up on my hands, you can rip that thing apart. So this is important. Anytime it's to the inside. Now the other question was asked about head placement.
Yeah, where head position. You know, we've gone to camps where we've had literally two world-class wrestling instructors at the same camp. One comes out in the morning and says, if you ever grab a single, your head has to go here, or else it's wrong and it's not going to work. And then inevitably 4 hours later, another wrestling coach will come out and he'll say, the only place you should ever put your head is here in the ribs. Is there a general rule? Or
they are both 100% correct. And all it depends on, again, this is a chess match. When I make a move, you're going to make a move, and then I'm going to respond to it. And so what I want to do next is what's going to dictate where my head goes. So a moment ago, I used this snatch, and I used my head actually to dump you down onto the ground. If I get a guy who countered this by straightening his leg, I'm going to take my head and I'm going to put it to the outside, which is completely opposite of what I did on the first one. So your defense to my shot is going to dictate what I do with my head.
So there's no default place that you go for, really.
The rule is single leg, head goes to the inside. Because if you go to the outside, people are going to cross face you with it.
Gotcha.
But if I can keep my head to the outside here and bring it up your back, I can still make things work. There are a lot of things I can do. It just depends on your response. And again, a lot of times if a guy sprawls out, I could take my head to the outside and do things all day long with it because he just gave me room to do that. So again, your defense is going to dictate what I do with my head.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Mike Stidham at the Ultimate Combat Training Center. Check these guys out. Wow, Yamasaki, we just finished up the Eric Paulson seminar here in Utah. And
look for those videos, they're coming up.
They're coming. Damage control, those things, please. Man, it's like back to back. We got something else great in store. Another seminar here. What's going on?
Olympic gold medalist and UFC veteran Mark Schultz. This guy is absolutely brutal. I remember watching him rip some guy's arm out with a kimura in a wrestling match.
His wrestling matches look like fights.
Exactly. What are the seminar dates?
It's April 20th and 21st, 2012, so just in a couple weeks here, and it's at the Ultimate Combat Training Center. Our good friend Mike Stidham's putting this thing together.
For more information, visit them on Facebook at the Ultimate Combat Training Center. We'll put the link down below. Make sure you check it out.